Hello my fellow Mythic Plus gamers. In this video we will be taking a look at Mythic Dungeon Tools, or MDT for short, a very important tool in the arsenal of a Mythic Plus player. I'll be sharing my way on how to use the add-on and some tips on how to make a solid route that will help new players to Mythic Plus or players who want to take it to the next level. Let's start by actually understanding why MDT should be mandatory for any aspiring Mythic Plus player. In this tool, we can plan the route that we're going to take in the dungeon we want to run. We can see how much percentage we have after killing a trash pack, the order in which we want to tackle them, where we're going, pre-blind massive pulls, and so on. While it looks more like a tank player add-on, it is mandatory to understand it even as a DPS or as a healer, to know when massive pulls or dangerous ones are coming, studying what mobs do, or to simply import a shared route to see what the hell you guys are going to do. Alright, let's get into actually using the add-on. So there are a few ways you can actually open up the add-on. There should be an icon in the top right corner that will look like this, like a flag or an N, whatever, it's with red. If not, then you can just simply open up your chat and type in /MDT, and this beautiful window will actually appear in front of you. Nice. So if you want a really fast guide, you can also press this information button in the top left corner to see exactly what each, you could say, section of the add-on does. But we're gonna do this ourselves, and we're gonna check every possible option. So let's start off with the top left. In the top left, we can actually choose what dungeon we want to look at. For example, I'm gonna be looking at Temple of the Jade Serpent. I'm choosing this dungeon simply because it's a very straightforward dungeon, and we can use it to not necessarily fight the dungeon layout, but to fight the add-on in terms of what we need to do. And the drop-down menu under from where you choose your dungeon is basically to choose the level of the dungeon. So Temple of the Jade Serpent has only one level, so I'm gonna go to something that has multiple levels. I think Shadow Moon Burial Grounds has multiple levels, and here we can just simply swap between the levels. As you can see, we can just simply swap. Nice. Alright, let's go back to Temple of the Jade Serpent, because that's what I said I want to use. Also up here, just so I don't forget, up here you can go down here to more dungeons, and you can actually choose a specific dungeon from maybe a former expansion. For example, let's go to Shadowlands. We can look at Halls of Atonement, but right now we're heading into Dragonflight Season 1, so I'm gonna go back to more dungeons. Dragonflight Season 1, Temple of the Jade Serpent, which is gonna be in the dungeon pool. Alright, so let's move on to the top right corner. That's where we will start, kind of the second start, you could say, after choosing our dungeon. Click in the drop down menu. You can actually see this button called New Route. You can also press this button, does the same thing. It's just, I just kind of used to using this drop down menu, but using the new button is as good, right? So here we're gonna put our route name. So let's just use example route. I'm gonna put the example route name, and we're gonna come here later to this use as a starting point. But if you are very curious as to what it is, it's simply, if you already have a route, but you just want to modify it and make like a second modified route, then you can use that. But I'll be coming back to this specific option a bit later, right? For now, we're just gonna leave it at empty, right? So we have example route, and we're gonna create. Perfect. Rename basically renames the route. Delete deletes the route. Reset resets the route. These are buttons which they will be self-explanatory the moment we actually start making pulls, or the moment we actually start planning our dungeon. So you just know they're there. Importing them, this is basically where you will import your route if someone sends it to you. So you can actually share routes by using a specific string, right? So if I press export here, then this is gonna be a string which we can copy and import into our MDT. I just did it right now in the background. We're not gonna do that because it's basically an empty route, but I just wanted to show it to you. Share, basically you can just these two buttons, they work only if you're in a group, Right now I'm not in a group, so I can't really show it to you, but sharing them will just simply make a text, a colored text in the chat, and you can just press it and the root will be imported into your dungeon. The live button, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but people can actually join your MDT. Like you can create like a local MDT a session where the people in your party can actually join in and see real time the route that you're making. So from this next drop-down menu, we can actually choose for what week this specific route is, right? Like if this is from the first week, then every time we're going to use this route, let's just go back to default, by the way. So there you go. So default is on week 4. If I go back to example route, it's for week 1. Now, obviously, it kind of matters, but it doesn't matter. If you want to be very organized, then yeah, actually use this thing. It's very useful. You can also use this dungeon level thing. And this is pretty important because for some specific affixes, if I take, for example, the Shadowlands Season 4 affix, some mobs would have like an additional border around them, like a purple border, to know that, you know, the affix above 10 is enabled, right? And this is where you will find the mobs or the seasonal affix. In our case, Thundering, it's once, I think, every minute or something like that. I don't know. I didn't really check it. Dragonflight didn't appear yet, so it will not show anything. It will just tell that, dude, there's Thundering now, right? All right. So let's get on with the awesome stuff, the drawing on the map, or whatever you want to call it, right? So we all know in Temple of the Chase Serpent, we spawn here in the middle, right? In like the start of the dungeon, you could say, you know, this specific circle, right? And we usually go left. And here on NMTT, we can see the first 4 mobs. Now, obviously, we want to tag them, so we're gonna make them a pole, right? And I will simply left click on these guys, and now it just beautifully encircled all of these. There's also a 1 here to tell me this is pole 1, and now we can simply do add a pole, this next one, then add another pole, this one, add another pole, this one. But this is really, really slow, right? I think you all agree with me. But we can do this a bit faster, very, very fast. We can simply left click. Now we can move our cursor to the next pole that we want to do, hold shift, left click, and it automatically created a new pole for us. Now, if we go up again, we simply left click this and this, and you can just make it super, super fast. We don't have to move our cursor left and right, but simply just hold our shift button, and we can just make massive amounts of poles. As you can see, I'm just gonna make a few just to show you, right? As you can see, boom, perfect. Let's say you messed up and you pulled, you know, you want to separate this second trash pack into another pole, right? Well, there are a few ways you can do it, and you just simply left click it. Or if you maybe just wanna, let's say, combine these 3 poles, but want to only pull this one guy. Let's assume you can pull this only one guy. If we left click this one guy, it will pull everything around it as well. We don't want that. So what we can do is now hold Control and left click on this fallen water speaker, and now we just pulled this only fallen water speaker. So this is why it's so useful to know. So shift, you make new poles every time you left click, and with Control you can add to the specific pole only one guy, only one mob, right? If you want to add a specific group, let's actually detach this guy from here. If you want to add another, you know, trash pack to this pole, we're simply gonna left click the trash pack we want to add. Beautiful. And that is basically, you know, the controls needed for, you know, using MDT as, you know, as a general, from like a general, you know, point of view. Like it isn't that complicated. You just need to memorize shift, you know, creates new poles, and Control adds, you know, one guy to the pole. And if you want to add another group to the pole, you just simply left click. You will get the hang of it really, really fast. I mean, it's gonna be, you know, you're gonna get it really, really fast. That's just the reality of it. You just need to put in a bit of work into it. But as always, you can actually check this again. You can check this upper left corner, and you can see if you hover here, you can see Control click to single select enemies, Shift click to select multiple and create a new pool, right? So if you ever forget, you can use that specific thing. So now let's say we have these two pools here, but we we want to add this third pool too. Sorry about that. There you go. So we want to add another pool, but we added it pretty badly, right? Like, you know, the second pool is after the third pool or what? Like, you know, we don't agree with the order. So what we can simply do is we can actually drag and drop these, right? We can just simply move the third pool into the second pool, and now they swapped order. Let's say we also want to maybe pull something before this. So let me reset this again. Let's say we made this route already. We started the route, but we forgot to, you know, to select this specific trash bag. Now, we're obviously not gonna go and delete these because we have these options here, which is insert before or insert after. So I'm gonna go to pull one, insert before, and now we can add this trash bag we forgot about. Perfect. And this is basically the generally what you can use in MDT. Like, this is basically most of it. But you can also, something to keep in mind, if you did like a massive pull like this one, let me just take this as an example. Don't take it seriously, okay? But you don't want to just left click and remove all of them. You can simply right click, clear pull, boom, and we just cleared this pull, and now we can just redo it normally, okay? So this is basically what you need to know about MDT. Like, this is how you to use the add-on. There's really not that much we can, you know, we can really discuss about. There's not that much. You can maybe like merge these again. There's also this button here, merge. Just right click on these, and you can do a lot of things. Just take a look at it. I'm not gonna go over every possible option because some of them are just not really useful to add here. All right, so now let's head up to the add-on up here, and we have a very beautiful bar, or like a toolbar, you could say. I'm not really sure if it has a name. I'm not really sure. And this specific bar is very interesting because sometimes it's borderline useless, sometimes it's so insanely useful. In our case, it is pretty useful, and I just realized it is very useful because we can add some things here. So we can draw on the map. I'm just gonna show an example. We can draw some awesome things on our, you know, on our screen. And I I want to emphasize that this specific pen tool is maybe useful if you want to draw like very specific lines. Like, for example, let me show you. Let me give you an example. Like, we can draw a line to here, right? Like, if you want to draw a specific line. Well, as you know, with the other tools, we cannot really do that. Okay. Now we want to remove this object, right? So let's just, you know, use the eraser tool up there, and we can just simply hold left click and delete everything. It just works like a normal eraser tool. The line is basically just a line, as you can see. You know, you can just draw lines. In our case, it's kind of useless. We don't really need it. And, you know, let's say we don't really want to erase that because it will take a while. So let's just use the undo button here. Or we can use the redo button to redo it, alright? So let's just use the redo button. This is basically the brush size. I've pretty much forgot about it. And now, the first tool that we need is here, which is the arrow tool, or the drawing of tool. And we're going to use this arrow tool to kind of specify where we want to go when we start the dungeon. We want to go to the left, so we're going to use the arrow and point it to the left, or in our case to the north, but when we enter the dungeon, it's going to be to our left, okay? And then when we kill this boss, we're going to go back to this right side. So I'm going to use the arrow again and point it here, okay? Beautiful. Now we have some arrows, but what the hell do these arrows mean, right? great thing that you asked. There is a button here named Insert Note, and here we can insert a note, which is simply left click, and this beautiful note appears, or this number, the circle of a number. And if we left click it, we will actually get a nice notepad here, and we can type in stuff. So I'm just gonna type we are clearing left side first, exclamation mark. All right, and then we're gonna go to the boss, and then I'm gonna make another note here to the boss, if I can also select insert note, and I'm gonna type in bloodlust if possible, and go back to right side. There you go. And we can just simply hover these nodes, and we can see what we just wrote. This is very useful if you actually make complicated routes and you kind of forget what the hell you're supposed to do, or if you want to let your team know that they have to playlist something or anything like that, or maybe you need to skip something. So for example, let me just put here another insert note. We skip these two dudes. Right? Not sure if they have to even have true sight. Do they have? But yeah. All right. So now we just made some notes that we kind of wanted to add, and yeah, I think that we actually kind of finished with the tool. Keep in mind that I don't have access to Dragonflight beta, or Dragonflight has not appeared yet. But in this specific section, I can kind of teach you what makes a good route, right? Now, while the route I make will be, I'm pretty sure it will be obsolete in 2 weeks. I will still show you like an example of how I kind of think about a route, so to speak. So what makes a good route, and we're talking strictly about bugs and Mythic Plus teams that don't do keys higher than maybe 20s or something like that. Something to keep in mind is that we want a route to be efficient, and by efficient I mean have the least amount of pulls while hitting the percentage needed. The percentage, we can see it here on the right. I think I forgot to actually specify that, so my bad. And we need to hit 100%. 100% we hit it by simply killing mobs, or trash bags in our case. So we want it to be efficient, we want it to be fast, right? We want to pull a lot and make sure that our team comp, or team comp pretty much, can handle these trash bags and not lose time. And the third one, it has to be simple. And by simple I mean we don't need to have 3 skips, one of which requires a hunter to turtle and feign death. The next one requires a mage to invis. No, we want it to be straight. Maybe we use an invis spot and that's it. Or if you play like a Vengeance Demon Hunter and you can incap or like cage something, then yeah, you can put it in your own route. In our case, I'm just gonna assume we're gonna play something like a Prod Warrior, which can basically do nothing in terms of that. And we're just gonna start off by seeing, we're just gonna do this first pull. We're gonna combine these 2 pulls. Now let's actually look here. What these mobs do. So they have this splash spell and the enrage. Now this is pretty important to know because they can be pretty dangerous at a very high key on fortified, right? On tyrannical we might actually get away with it. Okay, so we can just skip this and see how it works, especially in lower keys. Lower keys are very good for actually testing your routes, like maybe like a +3 or a +5, and then you can kind of, if you have a lot of experience in Mythic Plus, you can kind of gauge if these things hurt a lot on a higher key, right? So I'm assuming if you're making your routes, you're gonna test it first in like a low key, hopefully. Now, again, as I said before, it has to be efficient and it has to be fast, right? So far, we're gonna maintain our things about simple. All right. So again, let's continue with our efficient mentality. So we're gonna simply continue. So we're gonna shift left click, combine it with this next pull, and I think we might be able to do it. Again, as I said before, seriously, test this in a lower key. It might not work. It might work. Okay. We're not gonna get to Trash Pack because it's kind of like out of our way. like I think we can just simply skip it and do this. And if we need, we're gonna use what we know before with the insert before the second pull. Sorry, insert after the second pull. We're gonna use what we know, but so far we're not gonna use everything. Okay, now we're gonna add another pull at the boss, and we're gonna go to the right side here. Again, so we see there are 4 mobs here. We can't just pull 1, then go to the next one and pull only 2. So let's just try and actually combine these 4. Now, as we know, there are these lesser shaws, which I think they are similar to these droplets here, which they do AoE damage. Yep, there you go. They have the shaw eruption. Let's not make something crazy, and we're gonna combine this pull with the specific mob. Again, we're gonna use Ctrl-Left click to only add to this specific mob. Then we're gonna add another pull, get these 3 guys in here, add another pull, add the boss and this beautiful scroll. Oh, actually I misclicked, so we go, but that's fine. I'm simply gonna Ctrl-Left click, deselect this pearl, and then left click to. Okay, for some reason it doesn't work. Okay, there you go. Because I didn't have this specific pull selected. There we go. Now we can just left click and add them here. Okay. 8 pull again. Less shaws. Let's be careful, especially when fortified, because they might hurt. Moving on. Let's see here. We're gonna skip these if we can. If I can Invispot, Rogue, whatever, we're gonna skip them. If not, we're just gonna do them. But I'm not gonna put them here. So something very nice that actually I can see right now. When we hover this specific trash bag, we can see some blue lines with some X's. So this means that this is a patrol. This moves around, okay? So we can theoretically delay it for a while. Or we can just combine with this one. Doesn't really matter. But the idea is you need to keep in mind that here we see the patrol route, and we can kind of basically base our way of doing the pulls here based on that. So let's just combine. You know what? I don't think it matters, but let's just kind of clear it clockwise. Okay, so we're gonna clear this. Then go to the 11th pull. We're gonna get these guys here. Hopefully we can get this patrol here with the 10th pull, though, because this one has lesser shaws and this also has lesser shaws, which I think they might wipe your group in our case. So let's just hope we can do it. If not, we're gonna be very careful with this patrol. If it's in auto position and it's not really tight, like if this patrol is next to this trash bag, we can maybe do with that one. Again, it's really up to you. You really need to play and see exactly how it works and kind of get an idea. So I basically just did different pulls for all of these, and we're just gonna connect this 10th pull with another one of those pulls if the opportunity arises, right? Do the boss, and then we're gonna add another pull, get these 3, add another pull. I also want to let you know that if one of these icons has like this golden dragon, that means this is a boss, and you kind of have to be careful about that. Okay, now with this being said, we have a route, but apparently we don't have the percentage, as you can see here, so it's not efficient. It's not that fast, but that's because we don't know, we haven't run the route to see exactly where we can improve upon. It is simple. We can agree on that. So what we can do now is we can maybe do something else. Let's see what we can do. How we can make it more efficient. So we have this here, or we can just simply not skip these. That's also a possibility, because I don't see anything else that will give us percentage. Alright, so let's just not skip these. So this was pull 9, and I'm going to go to pull 9 and insert after. And now we have another pull here, pull 10. And we're just going to click these guys, and now we have these 2 beautiful guys here. And now we are at 102%. Someone might find a way to actually get it to 100%. I don't think we can do it, besides maybe just not doing one of those, but I'm not sure exactly how we can do that. I don't really see a way. So we're just gonna keep it at 100. Let's actually try to see if we get to 100 by only doing this specific guy. So this one is just 101%. So my idea is, if you do have someone that can skip, like if everyone agrees to have like an invest pod or something, then yeah, you skip these and then do this pull. If not, then you just do these two guys. Okay. This specific part can be optimized more efficiently if we run the dungeon and see if we can and have an idea how much these lesser shots hurt. Though it does seem to cause a lot of damage, you know, and I think it might, this shot eruption might scale with the dungeon key level, so it's very hard to kind of get an idea. That's the only thing I can see being improved upon, is the specific area. Maybe we can add this 15 pull to the 11th pull. That's a possibility, but I think it's very hard. So I think we can maybe add this Shambling Infestor to the 11th pull to make it more efficient. But again, okay, so let's just assume this is a pretty efficient brute. It's not necessarily that fast, but again, this comes with experience. It is simple, so we got at least 1 out of 3. And maybe even the first 2. Maybe I just hit the jackpot and this is gonna be the route that we're all gonna run for the whole season. Who knows? But again, the first 2 come with experience. The third one doesn't really come with experience that often. There will also be people that will be posting routes online, which you can use the input button to import them and look at them. So far, I haven't seen some, but I'll maybe leave a comment below if I do have a recommendation. Though, if you want to really learn routes, you can also check other streamers. Now, let's say you want to make a separate route for when you can actually skip things, right? So now I'm gonna go here to the new button, make a new route. So let's go with example route 2. Click OK, and we're gonna use a starting point, the example route. Okay, and we're gonna press create. And now we have and now our example route 2 is actually example route 1. Interesting, right? But what we want to do is go to pull 10, delete this pull 10, and then we're gonna go up here to pull 2, and we want to basically change it a bit. We're gonna add another pull, insert after, for example, change the specific pull 2, and I'm gonna be holding Control, deselect these 3, and then add to this specific pull this trash bag here, which let's just assume we can do it. And now on pull 3, I'm gonna click it and then press the specific trash bag, and now, you know, we have a route for when we can skip. So I can just press here, you know, and type here skip as well. So example route 2 with skip, actually with skip. There we go. Rename, and now we have it. Booyah. And we can just swap around and look around here, right? We have our 2 routes. Beautiful. Alright guys, that's it for me. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it helped you. Hope it whatever. If you enjoyed the video, smash that like button. If you want to see more guides, smash that subscribe button. And if I missed something interesting, comment below. Thank you and have a wonderful day.